It's your boy Alpha Sports Room back with another one. We're going to basically dive deep into how the San Antonio Spurs won this game 3 of the NBA Finals. And the main thing we have to talk about is how great of perimeter defense they're playing, specifically from their guards. And then it funnels down to Wemby cleaning it all up. It's like how you would do dishes, right? And for me, it's very key players that we got to keen into just on how they defensively changed the entire series. Dylan Harper, Stephon Castle, and De'Aaron Fox sprinkling him here and there. Only on De'Aaron when he's basically getting switched on and he just has to kind of like hold them off a little bit. That's all. But when it comes to Dylan Harper and Stephon Castle, the way they're able to take the physicality that specifically Jalen Brunson is trying to initiate. For some reason, the smallest guy on the court likes to initiate so much contact and then pump fake off of the contact to make the players go up in the air to bite and then jump into them to basically get a foul. This is like 94% of his game. And then the other side of his game is he'll do a step back and then pump fake. And that's really like another 94% of his game. So he kind of only has two moves. And the chicken wing arm that he does is very aggressive. So you have to always be aware of that. And a lot of times during the season, regular seasons, people don't care enough to play defense. So a player like Jalen Brunson would kind of go crazy because he takes so many shots in terms of like 25 plus shots a game, almost every single game. While playing little to no defense and little to no playmaking for his team, which is another reason why they are losing. Well, specifically this one game, but they were losing during the regular season and in general, the entire Knicks, like a couple years ago or even last year, they've always lost because of the lack of playmaking. And I don't think people ever talk about that. They rely heavily on Carl and Anthony Towns to basically not only facilitate, defend at a high level against a lot of talented bigs and forwards, and then also score at the highest level when it comes to shooting the ball because he has to stretch the floor out for Jalen Brunson to continue to attack in the paint because Jalen Brunson isn't a good 3-point shooter. He's a volume 3-point shooter. And I feel like people like Stephon Castle and Dylan Harper, they're really good at exposing this. I felt like Cason Wallace would have exposed it, like how Ashore Thompson exposed it. Great defenders are going to expose Jalen Brunson's weakness, right? Or it's going to make him more glaring about the moves that he does. He doesn't have a lot of counter moves like a player like Kyrie Irving does. So, or Steph Curry. Steph Curry has a lot of counter moves. Even his counters, he'll even counter his cuts. Like he'll cut around the rim if he want to go around the entire court. Sometimes he'll cut it halfway and then go right back around the other way. Then somebody else got to go pick him up. 9 times out of 10 is going to be a big, and then he'll abuse that matchup. That's why I'm glad that this is happening because a lot of people are getting to see there's levels of great players. And Jalen Brunson is getting shown to the world that he's not the Kyrie Irvings of the world, the Stephen Currys of the world, the Allen Iversons of the world, we're talking about Jason Kidd, even Jason Kidd. We're talking about the greatest guards, right, of all time. Steve Nash. We could talk about even Steve Nash. Because not only is a point guard role is to facilitate, but they also have to basically lead the team in a sense. And if your point guard doesn't do that, and there's other players doing that, it's going to be a very scary series. Granted, the Knicks are extremely great because of their team, right? Mikal Bridges, great player. OG Anunoby, great player. We're talking about two wings that are giant, long arms and can do everything on the court, right? They could play guard 1 through 5 as well. Then you got a cat who can stretch the floor out and shoot, right? Then you got Mitchell Robinson, who's like way better than what he's being used as. Like he offensively can score a lot. If he was playing with a guy like Luka Doncic, playing with a guy like CP3 or even Rajon Rondo, if the Knicks had Luka Doncic, CP3, Rajon Rondo, Jason Kidd, Steve Nash, this team would have won that game 3, would have swept the San Antonio Spurs because of playmaking. The team severely lacks it. Not only that, their bench scoring. When it comes to Jordan Clarkson, he doesn't come in the game. I'm so pissed off at the New York Knicks for not even utilizing this guy. And he's a way better player than Landry Shamet his entire career. He was drafted better than Landry Shamet. It's kind of annoying how the New York Knicks will take like just a very average player and then they'll be marketed or shown or talked about as if they're greater than what they actually are when they have players that are actually great, right? Jordan Clarkson is great, but he's not being played at the level that he should. He should be the actual six man. Many times he's been runner up in six man. And what I'm doing is kind of solving the New York Knicks problem because the San Antonio Spurs showed a glaring issue that for some reason none of the teams were able to do during this playoff series, because one thing that nobody talks about is how much rest that the New York Knicks had. We're talking about weeks upon weeks. I tallied it up to around 3.5 to almost 4 weeks off within a playoff series. That's almost unheard of because they were beating teams after the teams that they were facing had 7 game series. So after you finish, and this is all scientific DNA basketball wise, right? That's why I think this 3 game break that they had in between this series for the traveling from San Antonio to the New York Knicks benefited the San Antonio Spurs just slightly because they were able to be rested enough to where they was able to steal a game. But when it comes to basketball and when you're able to have fatigue and body soreness and tiredness and all those series at the let's say Philadelphia 76ers. Philadelphia 76ers went to a 7 game series with Boston Celtics. Joel Embiid was extremely hurt by the time he even faced the Knicks. He couldn't even play the Knicks at all, to be honest. So if you think about these matchups, right, you think about the Cleveland Cavaliers, right, just another team that they have James Harden, playoff choker. It's just, to me, they've always gotten, they haven't, this entire playoff series to me isn't one that I will respect compared to other series that I've seen in the Eastern Conference, where it's way more entertaining, where more battles. The Knicks sweeping everybody is not entertaining to me because I like real good basketball. Unless the team is super OP like the Warriors, it makes sense for the Warriors to beat teams like they were. I wasn't enjoying that, but there are people out there that really enjoyed that. But that's basketball. But to me, the New York Knicks isn't on the Golden State Warriors level, but somehow they're able to win like that. And like I'm trying to explain how they're able to win is because of their ridiculous defense from their 2 wing players. And then you got Karl Anthony Towns, who's like a all-star, who should be praised a lot more than what he gets. You know what I'm saying? And that's the biggest issue. I feel like he's a star of the Knicks. And I feel like people aren't talking about that enough. Is how somehow like it's like we're in the Nelson Mandela effect or whatever, to where somehow Jalen Brunson took the face of the Knicks instead for Karl Anthony Towns, who was an all-star. He was a playoff player prior to playing on the Knicks. He's the reason why the Knicks even got way better, but he's not promoted. And if they win this championship, will he be Finals MVP? That's a real question. Because to me, he's the game changer. But either way, let's talk about the San Antonio Spurs now, because I just had to give y'all a brief explanation on the New York Knicks run and kind of the false narratives that I feel like a lot of people are kind of jumping into when it comes to the New York Knicks. Even though I like the New York Knicks, I just don't like the point guard play. Specifically because I don't like volume shooting point guards that are very tiny, that doesn't defend or play make. That's my only issue. It's no hate, none of that. I'm from New York City. So when you take all this stuff in consideration, let's talk about the San Antonio Spurs. The beautiful part about the Spurs is that they actually play basketball in terms of defense. So they kind of where they had on defense, and I guess it's because they have a 7'6" center. And then they kind of changed and altered their game from game to game. From game one to game two was different, right? They blew game two, right? But game three showed an adjustment from game two, which to me was basically allowing that sophomore, or no, not sophomore, rookie actually, Dylan Harper playing more, right? Lessing Luke Cornett minutes, and then also having this three guard lineup that I really do like, which is the Dylan Harper, uh, De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle. That lineup, that three guard lineup right there. Then you add Wemby, and then you could add whoever you want after that. That lineup right there to me is the most vicious San Antonio Spurs lineup that they found in Game Three, because I feel like they were kind of skeptical of trying to put Castle and Harper in at the same time, um, but they tested it out, and to me, it worked well because Josh Hart isn't really a threat from the perimeter, even though he hit some shots in the third game, started off. But that's not the guy they want to score, the New York Knicks. They know that's not going to be maintainable, especially if he's supposed to do everything else. Then Mikal Bridges, they literally took him out the game. He didn't do absolutely anything. So somehow they made him non existent. In my opinion, the reason why they did that is because they attack the basket. One thing I noticed from game three is that they drove more. I seen a lot of pump fakes from Wembyama from the 3 point line, except for shooting it and settling it. He's done that a lot in the past series because it worked. OKC were kind of dropping back because they kind of on him. They're not dropping back really, but they were baiting him to shoot more in OKC instead of driving to the basket. Because by the time he drove, he had Isaiah Hartenstein and all this extra stuff. The New York Knicks, the inside defense is not real. It's not like Karl Anthony Towns isn't really a rim protector for real, for real. To be honest, if you really look at all the great rim protectors, he's not up there in terms of block shots and all that stuff. OG Anunoby is a weak side help defender. By the time he comes in help on Wembyama got to take one step over him, and he's literally past him. Then Karl Anthony Towns is coming in to help to try to block. That's not going to happen because Karl Anthony Towns is like 6'10". He don't even have long arms. So there's literally nothing he can do against Wembyama. So that's why I really liked that specific attack from San Antonio Spurs, how they specifically took like an initiative almost to attack the New York Knicks from their chest, right? Although the Knicks like to be aggressive, why not match the physicality? Go straight at their chest, and that's why I think Dylan Harper is so good because a lot of times you'll see him pump fake. He'll do some like split the defense and then literally do a Euro step. Maybe he'll dunk it after the Euro step, or maybe he'll just take two steps and then just dunk it on you or lay it up around you. He's a really, really great finisher for a rookie. I've never seen a rookie come in the game other than probably Kyrie Irving that can finish around the rim at that elite of a level. And then he's literally in the finals where it matters the most, and he's giving them that defensive edge. Because I seen Jalen Brunson try to like bump Stephon Castle. He might push him back just a tiny bit, and then Castle's right there on him. But Dylan Harper, Brunson will bump him in that he won't even move. And in my mind, I used to think that Castle was way stronger than Dylan Harper, but it looks like Dylan Harper knows how to guard the post well. You know, I think his dad taught him well in terms of having strong legs and a lower center of gravity. When someone like Brunson is coming in and just little lowering their shoulder, almost kind of chicken arming you to make you move back a little bit, that little bit of space you give him, he'll pump fake in the air to make you jump up because you're basically hesitating and recovering from the bump that he gave you and then draw the foul. But if he can't bump you back, then he has no position. So then he has to run the ball out or basically pass the ball out. By the time he passes the ball out, it's an easy telegraphical pass because he's passing out and not passing to play make, which is why I have an issue with his play style with the Knicks. But that's why I'm giving praise to the San Antonio Spurs for exposing that in game three. Now, this is just game three. So I'm going to need them to kind of build this up a little bit. For game 4, they have to study the tape and see that this worked, this game plan worked. The way that y'all guarding Brunson specifically, even though he's going to get his buckets, but it's not going to be in the flow of the game. It's not going to be a game changer, because if you're taking out and canceling all the other players that's going to basically help him or basically bail him out in a sense by playing well, right? Like OG Anunoby or Mikal Bridges or Karl Anthony Towns. If you negate 2 of them or maybe 1.5, right, then you will win the game. If Josh Hart is starting the game off great and Mikal Bridges is starting the game off bad, that should be a recipe for the San Antonio Spurs to look at, like, okay, that's a good recipe. We want Mikal Bridges out the game because he does a lot of the intangibles that the New York Knicks fans don't really see in terms of defensively, in terms of those corner threes. Those are very like headache threes, right? And just his energy, the fact that he plays every single game, his availability, right? And he's tall and has long arms. So when you take Mikal Bridges virtually out the game, now you just leave them with OG Anunoby, who has to kind of do everything already. He's going to get worn out. The longer you make the series, the longer he's specifically going to get worn out, because he's the X factor in why the Knicks are so good, OG Anunoby. He doesn't get talked about enough, right? And that's one thing I specifically love. Then I also love how Victor Wembanyama continues to just play great, even when people are saying that he's playing bad. He's adjusting from game to game. When I'm hearing his press conference, he sounds very poised. I seen him smile a lot. I seen him out in the city. I'm like, man, this is like the most poised I've ever seen someone after being down 2-0 to the New York Knicks. Like, he literally did not look phased. And that's kind of scary with someone that's mentally that durable at 22 years old. You know, they were already trying to say that he was like, oh, we're seeing a meltdown like LeBron James. No, like, you can automatically toss that out the window after game 3 for sure, because he got the W. And how he got the W was very, very entertaining because I seen some aggression out of him. I seen some poise and I seen some patience that he didn't show in game 1 and 2. He was rushing a lot in game 1 and 2 when he was at home. But it's crazy that New York had so much stuff going on, between having the Donald Trump there, all these celebrities front row, it's 15, 30,000, $80,000 seats. And in my mind, I'm thinking, if they take this to 7 games, this is going to be $1 million to get inside of the New York Knicks arena. And I think that's even more insane, like, than anything, because the actual pricing, I think Adam Silver did a good job in terms of getting as much money and milking as much money out of the playoffs as he possibly can, between viewership and an actual attendance in the arena, getting the New York City to the finals. One of the richest, if not the richest, city in the world. And then you get the celebrities to come. It's literally a money hack and a money glitch. I just really want to give credit to the San Antonio Spurs for playing great basketball. Let me know what y'all think in the comments below. It's me and boy, Alpha Sports Room, back with another one. Make sure you hit that like, comment, share, and subscribe if you want more videos like this of a nice little breakdown of Game 3 of the NBA Finals.